Good morning, African Confessions. I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and the message reads like this. How are you, Brother Nashi? Can you please post my story? I am a woman who is aged 45 years old. Right now, I have 4 children, and I have never been married before in my life. It is my own desire to get married, but now that I am about to get into my 50s, I don't ever think that I'll be married. I just think that I am going to die like this, a miserable death. When I started dating, I had my 4 children with different fathers, and none of these men that gave me these children ever paid or even bothered to pay for my bride price. And as we are speaking right now, they don't even want to help me in taking care of our children. They just got me pregnant and they all ran away. I have bad luck. Whenever I try to get into a relationship, a man will lie to me. And this whole thing started when I was still a young girl in my teens. The first man that I dated, he lied to me. He said that his wife had passed away because he was way older than me. I thought that if I get into a relationship with a man who was mature enough, he was not going to break my heart. The reason why I had chosen to get into a relationship with an older man, it was because I had seen how my sister had been heartbroken. So I made that decision that when I start dating, I wanted to date an older man. So when I started dating this older man, he just got me pregnant. After getting me pregnant, that is when I discovered that he had a family of his own, and he was just a womanizer. I was heartbroken. That was my first child. I was raised by my grandmother. My mother passed on whilst giving birth to me, and then I stayed with my granny and she passed on. And after that, I kept on staying with a lot of relatives, and life was not easy because there were days whereby people will just insult me for no reason at all. I knew that all of these insults, it was because I was staying with some relatives that didn't love me, or some of my relatives that didn't love my mother at all. In the end, I started staying with my uncle, my mom's brother. And one day when I was around 18 years of age, my uncle, she came into the room that I was sleeping. Then she forced to have sexual intercourse with me. I tried to scream, but he blocked my face with a pillow. It was quite hard. I could not breathe, but he kept on abusing me. And my uncle got me pregnant. Then he forced me to have an abortion. The painful part about the way that my uncle was abusing me, my uncle's wife, she knew that my uncle was abusing me, but she never did anything to protect me. And when I told my uncle's wife that uncle was visiting me in the night and he was abusing me, and after I had fallen pregnant, he had forced me to take some pills and I had an abortion, and he threatened me and he said, if you ever tell anyone, I am going to take this X and I am going to chop you into pieces. I thought that maybe my uncle's wife, she was going to report my uncle to the police, but she didn't do anything. She just said, do not tell anyone. Otherwise, if the village headman hears this story, he is going to kick us out of this village. Where do you think we are going to stay? These things happen in the family. You have to be grateful that your uncle took you in when none of your fathers or when none of your other relatives wanted to take care of you. This thing must remain as a family secret. So I never got that kind of a counseling. I don't know if I'll be able to get counseling from your listeners, because this thing, when it happened to me, it broke my heart. After that, that is when I started dating a lot of guys. I was trying to take the pain away. There is another thing that happened soon after I had that forced abortion. At that time, I still remember that I was still bleeding. after you have an abortion, you can have this heavy bleeding. I was still bleeding. But when my uncle came into my room that I was sleeping in at that time at night, he forced me again and he abused me. After doing that, he said, "Follow me." On that night, I still remember that it was raining a bit, because back in the village at his house, all of my mother's dead relatives, they were buried close to his house. That is where he took me to that graveyard. When we went to that graveyard, he performed some rituals on me. I didn't know what kind of rituals he was performing on me. He told me that he was cleansing me because I had an abortion. He wanted me to have children in the future. That is why he was cleansing me. What he did is that he stripped me naked. Then he took soil from my mother's grave. Then he put that soil in a small bucket that was filled with water. Then he gave me an instruction to bath. I started bathing and he said, "These things are going to protect you." That is when he took out a waist chain from his pockets. You know those waist chains that are full of beads. Then he gave me an instruction to put that waist chain on my waist. After that, we went back home. Then I slept. He promised me that this waist chain was for my protection and to cleanse me, so that in the future I can have children of my own. I did as I was told, because he said that I was supposed to wear this waist chain until when he will tell me to remove it. I stayed for about 3 months, but this thing, it was so painful around my waist. Like whenever I will be sleeping, I would feel that this thing will be painful around my waist. But my uncle had gave me that instruction that no matter how painful it will become, I should never remove that chain that he had given me to wear around my waist. After a couple of months, that is when he came into my room. On that night, he didn't abuse me or do anything. He just romanced me. Then after that, he removed that chain and he went out of that room that I was sleeping without speaking with me. After that, that is when I started dating that older guy and I fell pregnant. I just slept with that older guy for a couple of days, and when month end came, I found out that I was pregnant. When I told that older guy that I was pregnant, he was so angry. Then he started hitting me and he said that, "Why did you fall pregnant? You should have used family planning first before you got pregnant. For that reason, let us end this relationship. How do I know that this pregnancy is mine? Maybe you are dating other younger guys and you want me to marry you because you know that I can just take care of you." That guy, he just changed. In the beginning of our relationship, he was a caring guy, but when I told him that I had fallen pregnant for him, he just changed. And after that, that is when I found out that he had his own family. He had a wife and his own kids. Maybe that is why he had chosen to dump me like that. These things continued to happen until I gave birth to my fourth child. Every man that I get into a relationship with, thinking that now maybe God has decided for me to get married. But whenever I fall pregnant for a man, thinking that maybe if he finds out that I am pregnant for him, he is going to marry me. But all of these guys that have given me my kids, they just dump me like that. Right now, Brother Nashi, the person who is taking care of my kids, strange enough, it is my uncle. My uncle doesn't want me to suffer or my kids to suffer. But now my uncle is putting pressure on me. Last time when I spoke with my uncle, he told me that I had to travel back to the village and I had to leave my 2 daughters with him. But I am afraid if my uncle abused me in the past, what would make him to stop abusing my daughters? I am afraid. But at the same time, I am afraid that if I don't go back to the village, he will stop taking care of me. I really do not know what to do anymore. My uncle, he can provide for my kids. Right now, he pays for their school fees and he makes sure that we have something to eat. Whenever I try to start a small business, that business will just fail. That is what my uncle told me. He said, in your blood, you don't have that talent to start a business. But do not worry, for as long as I am alive, I will take care of you. But life is very hard. I don't want to depend on the man who abused me. Now he is demanding that I have to go back to the village and leave my 2 daughters with him. I don't want to do that. I know that deep down, my uncle, he is an evil man, because there are days whereby I have so many dreams, and in my dreams, I keep on seeing my uncle. Most of the times, he will be standing right next to my mother's grave. What he will be doing, I don't even understand. Sometimes in my dreams, I can hear that he will be talking with my mother when he will be standing right next to my mother's grave, but I can't even understand the language that you'll be using in my dreams. Please, Brother Nashi, I don't know if there is anyone who can deliver me from this curse. I don't want my daughters to go to the village and stay with my uncle, that same man who abused me. Please, when you post my story, let me know. I will follow in the comment section.